Okay, it's going.
Okay, here's how I feed my sourdough. Scale, put it on grams. A new jar, tally it out. And then this is my sourdough, and it's probably been standing. You see how high it had risen? It's probably been standing there for 3 days. There's a little thick, harder skin on it, but that doesn't matter. Try to not use that. So what I do is I measure out about 25 grams. It went to 30. It's totally fine. About 25 grams of starter, and then you put tally it again. And then I have 100 grams of flour that I need to add. And again, it doesn't have to be exactly 100 and exactly 25, but the rule, yeah, see, that's more now. 25 starter, around 100 around flour, and then water. Doesn't have to be hot and doesn't have to be cold, just whatever. About 100, and again, it's fine. Jeez. You'll see now when you and then I just kind of stir it up, and you'll feel the consistency. It has to be somewhat liquid still, but you know how this is kind of the consistency you want. And that's pretty much all you need to do to feed it. Then I put a cloth on there and this, and I just put it away, and I just leave it. What do you do
with that one?
This is discard, so you can make anything that the recipe that calls for discard. You can add that into pancakes. You can add that into anything else that doesn't need to rise, like bread. I would discard of this. Chickens can eat all of it if I don't use it, or you can make more starters. So you could do the same thing again in another jar. But this is discard, and I usually use it for either adding it to pancakes or to other breads, or I just feed it to the chickens. But you can't bake with that, because anything that you want to rise, and I'll make that part 2 of the video, you need to wait until it's at its highest rising. So that was part 1. Okay, now that the sourdough is at its peak, we're going to do 2 things. The first thing is we're getting ready to make bread. Put this, oh, this is not on gram. Put it on gram, and I am going to tally out 700 grams of water. And this is for 2 loaves, 700-ish. Okay. Then in that jar, in that new jar, the first thing we want to do to make sure we always keep some of the sourdough is measure out our 25 grams again to make new sourdough. If yesterday, or you know, when it was, oh, look at that, 25 grams. If you did 2 jars, you know, you don't have to do that, but always remember to keep that for next time. Okay, then we go and we add 200 grams of starter. And the way you know it's a good starter, you'll see this, it floats. It's lighter than the water, and it should be about, oh gosh, it should be about 200. I just, after I took out what I need for my new starter, I just put the rest in, no matter if it's over or under. So that's 217. Perfect. Okay. So that is the start of the 2 loaves. We kind of fold it in to get the sourdough all in the 700 grams of water. Then we add 750 grams of all-purpose flour. And again, you can make that all half that size if you want to only make 1 loaf of bread. But I'm going to show you 250-ish. And then you fill it with whole wheat flour to the 1,000-gram point-ish. And then you put in salt, about a tablespoon and a half. And that is all you need to do for your dough. I usually make it in the KitchenAid with a hook. So you just put it in. And just mix it up. And it's gonna be a somewhat wet dough. It's not gonna be like a all-in-one lump. And then you wanna still leave that either all day or overnight, depending on when you do this. Right now it's in the middle of the day, so I definitely need to leave it on the counter till tonight, probably till tomorrow morning. And then you can form it and make your loaves. But that is step 2. This is how the dough looks right now. It's pretty sticky, and what I did is I wet a towel, a kitchen towel, and I just put that over and leave it out of sight, out of mind. Okay, next morning, this is how the dough looks. It's pretty high up. I'm gonna put some flour on my hands and on the dough, and then I'm just gonna kind of gently take it out of the bowl on a floured surface. So this is after a whole night and pretty much half a day of rising. And then what I do is, because it's still pretty sticky, I will use some more flour to kind of fold it. And the way you fold it is you pull, fold in, pull, fold in, pull, fold in, pull, fold in. And you do that a couple of times until the outside of the dough is nice and floury. And then I usually, because this is 2 loaves, remember, take my little bench scraper and make 2 loaves. And then this next part is really depending on how much time you have. You're supposed to do this pulling and folding thing about 3 times, but I've done it 1 time and it's fine. And you just kind of lay it down and then let it rest for a little longer. If you have time for a couple more pull and folds, you can do that after like half an hour or hour even to do that. I'm gonna leave them 1 more time and with a towel on top and just come back later. Okay, so I did the second fold or third fold on those. Do it 1 more time. I'll just turn it around. Pull, fold, pull, fold, pull, fold, pull, fold, pull, fold. Kind of go like this until it's a roundish loaf, and then you can turn it around, and I kind of go like this to form it. At this point, one of them can be transferred onto any bowl. I put it on parchment paper. And usually I cut along the sides and then I put some foil on it. It can go in the fridge and it can stay there up to 2 or 3 days. Best is when it's made right away. And then this one is ready to bake. So the way I do that is I also put it on a piece of parchment paper. And then I preheat the oven to 485, and I have my Dutch oven, which is right here. I have my Dutch oven in the oven to preheat, and then when it's done, I'll show you how to score it. Last step before you put it in the hot oven, I score it. I usually do 4 on the very side, and then this one kind of cracked open, so I'm just gonna follow that line. You want 1 deeper line in the bread, and then you can do any amount of smaller ones, any patterns. This is not super pretty, but this is like a leaf kind of deal. Can do a couple more here, and then it can go in the hot black pot on 485 for 20 minutes with the lid on, and for 10-15 minutes with the lid off, and then we'll see how it comes out.